Welcome to the Joey Show. I'm Joey Avery. We have a phenomenal episode for you today. As you can tell by the empty chair next to me, I am joined by a guest, and today that is Dean Sheremet, world-renowned chef. He has worked in some of the finest restaurants in fine dining, graduated top of his class in culinary school, which he has some thoughts on whether or not that's worth it, but he's lived a great many lives. He has been in the tabloids for many relationships. He was a backup dancer. We get into all of it. It's an incredible interview. Dean is so much fun. So let's just hop into it. Here's the interview with Dean Sheremet. Just the boys, dude. We're rolling. Okay, good. Yeah, just I want to welcome my guest Dean in here today. These are tough.
It's like you knew me. Jeez, you know I was coming.
Dean, thank you so much for doing the podcast. You are the first backup dancer that I've had.
Wow. I love that. I'll take it. I earned that.
I'm kidding. Thank you, chef, dude. I'm excited to talk some food with you today.
Well, I'm proud of my past. I have we all came from somewhere, and that was my entree into doing all of this good stuff. So
you do have, because I've discovered you in reverse, right? Like, I knew you. Well, I didn't know about your past at all until I was like about to do this, and I was like Googling. I was like, holy shit, you were like a tabloid guy.
Yeah, I was a tabloid guy. I mean, no, it's funny. Like, I growing up, I was like, you think you want to be famous.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna be. I was a dancer too, so I was like,
yeah,
I'm gonna be on stage. I'm gonna be famous, and like, I got famous for the wrong reason. I didn't realize how I was gonna get famous. I got famous from a cheating scandal. That's not the way you want to do it.
Yeah, dating in the public eye. Good idea, bad idea. How would you?
Bad idea.
Yeah,
bad idea.
You kind of kept it rolling though a little bit.
Dude, I got out of LA though. I moved to New York. That's how I became a chef.
That's what I wanted to ask. So you've like it's a trip reading about your journey, because it's like, okay, the chef and classically trained, like all the best schools, Michelin star restaurants, crazy like fine dining shit, and that was all after being famous. For being in a scandal after being a professional world traveling dancer.
You make it sound much cooler than it is. For me, like, I was like a mess. I was destroyed after the
No, it doesn't look that fun. Because I'm leaving out the detail. I mean, it doesn't look great to have. Was there paparazzi in your face? Like,
oh, dude, all the time. No, it was like, well, I found out about the affair because it was going to run in Us Weekly. It wasn't like I found out from her days before. I was on a Sunday. I remember I was sitting in the kitchen, and we lived in Nashville, and I got a call, and she's like, hey, I just want to talk to you. And I was like, what's going on? And she's like, well, Us Weekly might have a picture of me and Eddie kissing. I was like, what do you mean you might have a picture of you kissing somebody? Like, it's like not like you're like a little bit pregnant. I'm like, it's either it is or it isn't.
What's actually crazy to me about this is that she didn't lead with, hey, I've done something horrible.
No,
she led with, hey, I might have gotten caught.
Hey, this might be the front page.
This might be a thing
of Us Weekly. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What does that moment feel like?
There was actually no real mea culpa at all during that whole thing.
Did she just go straight to strategy?
It was like, she just went straight into, it's so funny even talking about this, but it's like she went straight into like, I'm living my best life and I'm happy and this is what I was like, cool.
That is some LA shit.
And then it was like, no, but then it was like there was this whole like triangulation between his ex-wife. The three of them were in this crazy circle where they were all going at it. I was like, peace out. I'm going to New York. And that's why I went to culinary school.
So what made you go, what made culinary school to like, okay, obviously this is what I'm going to do?
Well, so my grandmother taught me how to cook when I was younger. So it was something that I always had in my life. It was a through line.
And she was a high-level baker?
Yeah, she was a baker. Yeah. So I grew up in the kitchen baking and doing all that kind of stuff. And I didn't realize, obviously, until going through that divorce. I used to cook on the road, though. Like, you're on the road all the time, right? You want to have, like, that sense of, like, home every now and then. So I would, like, bring a grill on the tour bus, and I would have, like, be cooking for the band.
So for me, that's blacking out in a dive. Whatever works, though.
We each have our own sense of comfort.
Yeah.
I've been there.
So you would cook, that's better.
I would cook. I mean, I'm too old to black. Well, that's a lie.
Are you? Yeah.
Let's not try to play.
But you're jacked. I mean, do you rage? Because you're kind of shredded.
I do. I get out. Well, here's the thing. I'm a parent, but I have 50-50 custody, so I get to be
amazing
amazing parent
dad.
half the time.
Let's go.
Well, no, not just weekends, but like
Yeah.
I have him like half the time. But half the time, it's kind of I talk to divorced parents and I say, how do you feel about it? And they're like, they don't want to tell anybody.
It's kind of the greatest way to do
it. They're like, because when I'm with Atlas, I'm
fully present,
so present, and like it's all about him. But then there's a part of the week where I can, if I want to work 16 hours a day, if I want to, shoot, edit, do whatever, cooking for things, or if I'm traveling, if I want to be a fucking idiot and go out and rage, like I can do it. And I'm not going to wake up the next day
and be like,
hungover.
oh, fuck.
Yeah. Trying to take care of my
Somehow
kid.
you're disappointing your kid and your wife's mad at you all at the exact same time.
Exactly.
You're just mad at yourself.
I'm just
like a good alcoholic.
crying.
Okay, great. So
crying
back
in
to
the
this. So
corner.
you're cooking on the road.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're dancing, you're cooking. Somehow people don't think you're gay. No,
Dude, everybody still thinks I'm gay.
yeah, you are like suspiciously jacked.
It's not
you look good.
You're suspiciously jacked.
Nah, dude, stop, dude. You're wearing boots.
Oh. Back to the microphone. Look at this.
We just fuck. That's the whole podcast, dude. The cameras aren't even on.
Dude.
Subscribe to the Patreon, folks, if you want to see.
You want to see it all. Yeah.
Okay, so you cooking was a huge part of your life. It just wasn't your profession. Then when this happened, it was like, fuck LA. I mean, I imagine you're like, I got to get as far away from this place as possible.
Yeah, I still feel that way.
I was going to ask what brought you back.
So my son's mom is from San Diego. Which I love San Diego.
San Diego's the best. Mic Drop Comedy this weekend, Friday, Saturday, 3 shows, tickets available. Let's keep going.
I mean, it's like I knew it was there.
I went to UC
Aren't you running
San
for
Diego.
mayor?
I am. I'm running for mayor of a lot of towns.
I like that. That's how I actually first saw you. Was
the mayor clips?
Was one of those mayor clips, and I was like, who the fuck is this jackass? And then I was like, oh, we'd be friends for sure.
Yeah, 100%, dude, without a doubt. Yeah, and then we were talking about San Diego, and you're like, it's the best. I'm like, well, it is the best. We're going to have to move there.
For real.
I love it there.
No, LA, so it was kind of one of those necessary evils where it was like, oh, let's move back to be closer to family, which her family's in San Diego, so I don't know how that made much sense. And she's a director, so it makes sense for her to be here.
Right.
And I just, kind of made it work.
Yeah. If you didn't have to live in LA, where would you go?
San Diego. I would, yeah. It's because I like everyone shits on California all the time.
It's so funny though, because it's genuinely the best.
No, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's not without its problems. The governor rather, and all the things. But
everyone's always like, "How do you even live there?" I'm like, "It's fantastic." Yeah, I haven't personally, fallen into a heroin addiction or had my car jacked, so I get it. But I have gone to the beach and enjoyed it. Well, I came up through San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm from the Bay Area. I came up through the San Francisco scene, like my my formative 7 years of comedy were all in San Francisco. And then I ended up having to leave because a meth head was repeatedly breaking into my apartment during COVID, and the police couldn't do anything about it. But that was one small flaw. And I enjoyed the rest of my...
Same guy?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Same guy over
he was
and
dialed.
over again. Wow.
He was dialed in. He was living across from us.
What was he coming for?
Oh, dude, the rent money. He did so... Dude, he was a squatter, but he did so much meth that he came to believe he was the landlord. Which is what, to me, I'm like, that's kind of how you make it in this country, dude. Like, that's how...
Wow.
That sort of self-belief. That's how Trump became president.
That's that's very LA. That's very, motivation...
If we could just get that guy on Instagram in black and white reels and have him talking about motivation, I'd run through a wall. And he ran through my door several times, uninvited. He was good at picking locks.
Wow.
Fuck you, Marcus Bogue. That actually was his real name.
Marcus Bogue. That's like a fancy name, though.
Yeah, I should probably bleep that. I don't want this guy in my life at all. He tried to steal my wife's identity. He's not a good guy.
Whoa.
Yeah, but the point is, California's awesome.
Oh yeah, California's awesome. Other than that, California's awesome.
So okay, so you go back, you go to New York, and you're like, I'm gonna go to culinary school.
Yeah. And
I've read you did very well there, but what does that look like? How are you I'm top of my
Dude,
class?
I was a fucking dork. I was so kind of needing something to ground me from all of the chaos that I was focused 100% on school and not going out. And then when I tried to go out too, because I was married guy for 10 years. In my 20s,
you're like, I'm ready to go.
But my 20s was I'm like Benjamin Button. I'm doing everything in reverse.
Yeah,
now.
You are. You might be aging in reverse too.
I'm just losing more money as I get older.
Yeah.
And having less and getting more shit taken away from me. No. But I feel like I needed that to focus me. But I would go out, but I was also 29 going to culinary school.
Right.
All these guys and girls were 18, 19. Some of them were like career changers who
Right.
like worked in finance and they thought it'd be cool to go to culinary
But a lot of them, it
school.
was instead of college.
But a lot of them was like that was their option. But it's stupid too. I always tell people, don't go to culinary school. Like if I had my druthers now and like I knew what I knew now, I learned how to, or had the passion for cooking earlier, I would say go to whatever restaurant would have you and like work your ass off. Start a dishwasher or whatever. Like learn as much as you can and then move on before going to culinary school and getting saddled with $75,000 worth of debt that you're not gonna make right away as a line cook.
Obviously, it's different, but comedy is very similar. There's tons of comedy schools and comedy classes, and people are like, what should I do? How should I start? I'm like, go eat shit at an open mic. Talk to me in 10 years, and you'll be good or just delusional and still doing it bad.
It is funny though, the comedy class. Like, do you think there's any merit in people actually going to a comedy here's how to do stand up? Because you either have your thing, probably. I mean, I don't know, speak for you.
I don't think there is merit in it, except for probably maybe even the same thing as culinary school, which is like you will learn things by doing it, and if that's the thing that gets you to start, then clearly it was valuable in that way. But you could start and just learn on the job anyway. Like there are no truly elite stand-up comedians who teach stand-up comedy classes, and imagine that they're going to teach you the rules, but if you really want to be good, you're trying to do it in your own way.
Your own thing, yeah.
And there's like 5 rules, I could tell you. They're not like, and you don't really want to use them all the time, because these days comedy is more about being funny conversationally than like, here's my 1, 2, 3.
Here's the setup.
Yeah, like you don't want that.
No, but that's the thing too. Like I think for me, as well as I did, I was like top of my class in culinary school. Like, who gives a shit? By the time I got into a real restaurant, I was like, holy shit. Like, it was completely different. And you have to get those reps in. It's like you eating shit.
I almost think it's helpful for you, though, because you had this background and you had this public image and you were this person. And so then it's like, oh, he's becoming a chef. Sure, maybe he just used his name to get that. Instead of like, it is when you can showcase 100%. Actually, I did the steps. I did it the classic way. I have all, like, I imagine you felt a need to, like,
100%.
You couldn't just open a restaurant. People would be like, oh, that fucking asshat is it. You had to, like,
it's LeAnn Rimes' ex-husband.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course. No, so for me, like, to your point, I had to find that thing that was inherently mine that nobody could take away from me. That it was like, it had nothing to do with her at all. It had nothing to do with, I wasn't trying to be a celebrity chef or some bullshit. I hate that fucking term anyways. But I wasn't trying to.
We are going to have to talk about that. We'll get to that in a second.
I wasn't trying to be like some famous guy. I was like, oh shit, like I don't know what to do with my life. I'm going to put all my, I was way too old to be a dancer, and it wasn't what I wanted to do anyways.
23. Way too old to be a
no,
fucking
dude, I was like 29.
Oh, yeah, that's way too old, dude.
Like
that's fucking way too old to be a dancer.
23 is way too old to be a dancer.
Yeah.
For me anyways. No, so I just had to find, I had that thing, and I was like, I just went for it. And, And I had to do it.
Yeah. And it was helpful that you could check off all these things, because then you can come back to it and be like, I've earned my stripes.
For sure.
So then you worked at Nobu, right?
Yeah, which was hilarious because working in Nobu, I was like, well, I fucking know the menu. I've eaten here for the last 10 years. It was kind of...
You're like, it
was kind
am
of
I supposed to cook differently for like a crying star who's weaning off of Vicodin and hates sir? Yeah.
It was like a cheat code because I knew the menu. So I like going in when I went, because you go for what's called a trail.
Yeah.
I knew all the dishes. I knew what they're supposed to look like. I was like, that's so much. I was over there doing drugs, waiting for this sashimi 4 years ago. Actually, 3 years ago.
Is it overrated?
Is it overrated? No, it's not overrated. Here's the thing. It's become overhyped, but it's not because...
It's not the fault of the restaurant. It's the fault of the patrons.
No, but I think, here's the thing. Nobu did an amazing job of bringing sushi to white people.
Yeah.
And making it palatable, because it's not the most unique or interesting or out there, but it's got the greatest flavor combinations, and everybody loves it. Like, everybody across the gamut.
Is it weird being a white dude working at a sushi restaurant?
They didn't have me in the front.
Right.
I was
going to say, as a white dude who's kind of trafficking in a heavily Asian space, would you have any advice for me in having a small cock?
Well, I have a lot of advice on having a small cock.
Just kidding. Mine's fine. Asians are great. That's okay, but that is interesting. How many chefs in the back are white?
There were probably 3 or 4 of it. Most of
Okay.
it, like you said, trafficking in like in Asia is more of Latin.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
the Mexicans be cooking for everybody.
Dude, the Latino community, like shout out to the fucking Latino community, because without that, that's what everyone's like complains about. Oh, immigration or this or that. Like, yeah, there's
do
merits
you,
to all of
do
it.
you like the food that was grown, shipped?
Yeah. Do you like Nobu?
eaten? Yeah.
Do you want to go to Nobu?
Dishes, everything. Yeah.
No, so it's. I mean, it is the backbone of the restaurant, and
Do you think that? I mean, obviously, this is probably a larger question, but do you think that they kind of dominate in the restaurant industry because it requires a lot harder work than the average person assumes at a restaurant? It's like people watch cooking shows, right?
Yeah.
The reality of working at a restaurant is very different.
And that's why I tell everyone, don't go to culinary school, because you're going to spend, depending on where you go, anywhere from 75 to you go to CIA up, a couple $100,000 on an education, and you get there and you're like, oh, this is hard work. Like, it's fucking hard work. It sucks. Like, most of the time, like, but there's this camaraderie, and like once you start getting those reps in and you start, getting your groove, you feel good. Like I even think about that too. Like I'm like, oh, I get wistful about being back on the line with all my boys. Like that was so cool. And then I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to. Like, there's no way.
You couldn't go back
No,
now that you don't have to do it.
There's no way. And then getting off at midnight and then like going and drinking until 2 or whatever. And then you're like repeating it
Is
over
that as
again.
common now as it always was?
I mean, it was as common. It is. I mean, it's part of it. I think.
I love that shit. I just feel like it used to be a bigger part of comedy, and now every comedian's like, actually, I'm keto, and I'm, I just take one mushroom or whatever, and I'm like, let's get fucked up,
go.
guys. We're done. We did the show.
Yeah. No, I think it depends where you were. I mean, I didn't work at places. You hear the Anthony Bourdain stories of people like doing rails like in the restaurant.
I love it. I assume you read Kitchen Confidential.
Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, Bourdain is the guy.
I read that in like end of high school, and I was like, "What the fuck is this world?"
No, it's insane.
He's the best, right?
He's the best. Everyone wants to try to be him. Years ago, I'd be like, "Oh, I want to be Anthony Bourdain." Like,
yeah.
No, everyone who tries, like, I stopped trying. Like, I got off that train a long time ago, and people still try to do it. And like, I'm gonna do the travel series and do like, dude, you're never gonna do it. You're never gonna be as interesting. And he was a writer before he was a chef. That's what made him so good.
And that's the key to those shows. One of his producers, I think, went on Rogan and was like, we would film and we would give him a cut and we would be sitting around the editing room going, this sucks. And then he would sit with it and he would write some beautiful soliloquy about what that entire place meant. And all of a sudden, the episode would sing. Dude. And it would be art instead of what they were looking at, which is like, I don't think we have enough.
Yeah, so many places in the world that I've traveled to is because of Bourdain. Like, I'll write things. I'm like, oh, he went here. Oh, he went to Cambodia. I need to go there. And
when you go there, reading like his quotes about it, like I was just in Paris, and that wasn't like a huge bucket list item for me.
Yeah.
But I literally land on the plane and I start like Anthony Bourdain, Paris, and I'm reading the stuff that he wrote about it, and he was like, don't overplan your trip. He's like, wake up in the morning, catch a breakfast buzz, walk for a little bit. He goes, have sex if you can, just not with a mime. Take a nap, start drinking again, walk, find a bistro for dinner. I was like, oh, Paris is sick, and then I loved it.
Did you not? You didn't have sex with a mime?
I didn't have sex with a mime, no, but I did tell my wife to shut the fuck up.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. Love you.
You know what? I was. Paris is a little overrated for me. I know it's not.
I'll tell you why it was awesome for me is I had no rating going in because like I said, from a young age, I was on the like Bourdain train. I always wanted to go places people didn't go. I started stand-up in South Africa because I studied abroad in Cape Town. So I was there. Crazy. I got to do a semester there and live there for 6 months. And so it was like Paris, it's like my parents have been there. Everyone's been there. That's not travel. So I didn't really think about it. We just added it onto our trip. And then all of a sudden I'm there and it's like night one, we go to a show. Our friend's DJing at a nightclub. Next thing I'm on stage at a Parisian nightclub. And then
did you tell jokes?
Gives us all these. I did a show first. Okay. I did not tell jokes at the nightclub. Nothing would ruin a party more. We got a comedian here.
Hey guys,
I got a few takes on politics. If you guys want to pull the key out of your nose and listen. Yeah. Nobody fucks to stand up.
Who's this homosexual? But it's the French. They can't really.
Shut up. Just go be gay and have a cigarette and enjoy yourself.
Honestly, like I think I had it on. It was like that girl that's just so unattainable, and then you like finally hook up with her, and you're like, oh, that's how Paris was for me.
Because I hadn't been jerking it off. We like see the Eiffel Tower, and I'm like, that shit fucking slaps, dude. Like,
No, it's amazing.
It is awesome.
But like I was, of course I was like, oh, he just was in French culinary school.
I was
and,
just
like,
gonna
had
say,
this
you've
romance
been
about it.
Yeah.
And it was cool. It was fine. But there were so many bistros. And look, if you spend 200 euros on a meal, you're gonna get a great meal anywhere in Europe.
Yeah.
But like I want to find the cool shit. So like there's certain parts of town that I went to that I dug. But we actually. Who I was with at the time, we flew to Nice, and it was too early for south of France, and I was like, fuck this. We had a friend in Florence, got in the car, drove from Nice to Florence, like on this whim, and got to Florence and started this whole like Italian, like talk about not having shit planned. Dude, Italy's where it's at. And
it actually comes back to the Bourdain quote we were discussing. It's never, obviously you should plan when you go on vacation. You should do like, there's almost your
especially
must
if you're married.
hits. Yeah. There's your must hits. You go all the way to Paris and you don't see the Eiffel Tower. You don't go
You're
to the
a dick.
Louvre or whatever. You've kind of fucked it.
Yeah.
But do those things just so that you can feel like I've done enough of the thing, and then leave yourself space for the random shit.
For sure.
Because that's the best stuff.
For sure.
It's all the best stuff. And you probably would not have enjoyed Florence as much if you'd been prepping for a Florence trip all year.
100%.
But instead, you're like, this ain't the look. We go to Florence, and you're like, this is the look.
I turn up at Florence. It's midnight. We go to this
a
pizzeria.
steak Florentine.
It was amazing. We met this crazy dude who like took us around the town and like,
If you could go just purely on cuisine, I'm handing you a plane ticket. Well, two, I'm going as well. And you're like, we're gonna go eat in one country for a week. Where are we going?
Vietnam.
Yeah. Why?
The culture is amazing. Every person that I know, like all my Vietnamese friends are like some of the coolest people, super passionate about their food. Women are hot.
Yeah.
So are the guys, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
it's hard to tell the difference.
Sometimes we hit that middle area. It's a gray area, folks.
Isn't that what Vietnam
that
was?
bond me.
No, I feel like, especially how much I'm a history dork as well.
Yeah.
So I think just seeing all of that history there, Vietnam, Cambodia, like any of that part of Southeast Asia. I've been to Thailand, which is like
there's
Disney
nothing
World.
quite like traveling somewhere that just stopped hating us.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of places still hate us
Yeah.
a lot.
Like I bet Iraq is gonna slap in like 15, 20 years.
Arab women are hot though.
Oh yeah, you like that? Yeah.
I grew up in Dearborn, Michigan.
Lady in the streets and also in the sheets, because that's what she wears in the streets.
Which one are you right now? Are we in the streets or the sheets? No, but I used to get in a lot of trouble because I grew up in Dearborn, Michigan, and it's the highest concentration of Arabs outside of the Middle East.
Yeah.
Literally, it's a little Lebanon, and Arab women are beautiful, and I
100%.
I would get into so much trouble with the cousins and the brothers, and I have like 20 guys like, we're gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, I have a hot take, which is that women are beautiful, and I know I'm not saying differently, but it's like everyone, like people like have a type, but then you see someone hot from any, and you're like, that's amazing.
I don't know if I have a type. Well, I say I don't have a type. I'm married to blonde.
I know. I have a track record. I don't know if I have a type. There's a lot of partial Asian in my all right. Yeah.
Partial.
Yeah.
Vietnam.
My wife is half Japanese.
We're gonna crush. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Have you been to Japan?
No, I want to. It's high on my list.
Dude.
I'm dying to go.
If that's let's say you were saying not for for everything. But
I honestly, these are actually on my list. Vietnam and Cambodia were very high on my list. But Japan.
Dude, Japan will blow your mind. Like Tokyo, you're just like, what is life? Like it's the craziest.
It looks insane.
Modern, but like, and they also don't give a shit about you. It's the funniest. Like a lot of places are trying to be accommodating to you. You go to Vietnam, you go to Thailand.
Like, hey,
they're like,
oh
my god,
yeah.
Like,
Japan, they're like,
like,
get on the train. Some guys just
like
pushing you in.
They're like, you don't know what you're doing. Get the fuck out.
Yeah,
like,
get out of
walk
here.
Right past you.
Oh, I love that. I kind of hate that, but I love that too.
Yeah, but then, that was Tokyo. But I feel like going to Kyoto was a whole different experience.
I actually do like not get. It is weird when people are like trying to like, hey, let me help you. It's like, no, I'm good. I'll figure this out. I'm never gonna be able to go, but I have a crazy fascination with North Korea. I spent I have an hour and a half episode of this podcast where I went on TripAdvisor and just planned a trip based on
where are you going to eat.
Well, and then we went through all that. There
Really?
are reviews on TripAdvisor, and one of them is unreal. The guy's like, yeah, they gave us a soup with a sweet meat, and I didn't really realize what it was until it was dog.
Oh yeah.
So that's not probably ideal. I mean, I don't think it would be fun. I just think it would be interesting, and that's that's kind of the ethic that's been instilled in me that I think is incorrect. Like, you don't have to go hardcore just to feel like you're a traveler. And the older I get, the more I'm like, I don't really want to fucking, be
I'm
like,
too,
and I don't want to go to a work camp, But you do want, I guess, I think I'm at a point where I want that middle ground where it's like, not everyone's been here and I'm having an interesting time. And I feel like I've opened up a door that has given me like a tiny little puzzle piece that has made my very limited worldview just a little bit more full.
You're not going to be backpacking and staying in hostels and doing that.
Don't really need to do that.
I never. Like I said, I Benjamin Buttoned it. I did the opposite. I was like, 20 years old, living in Bel Air, flying first class. Like I'm not gonna. Someone's gonna be like, let's go to a
What
hostel.
is this, a Fairmont or not?
Like,
no.
This is a Four Seasons.
Yeah, but you kind of eat, pray, love your way out of this.
Yeah, I kind of, I did a lot more than that, but
Eat, pray, smash.
Yeah. Jesus.
Oh my God. Okay, so then you're in New York.
Thank God you're not on the dating scene in Los Angeles.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
When'd you get married?
Bro, well, 2 years ago, but we've been together for like 12 years. So we met when I was 20.
So you did all those clubs and all of that
So
stuff?
yes, before I ever did a single
up.
open mic, we were together. Yeah.
Which
is great. So she's seen the whole thing. So she like appreciates. She's not coming in the middle of the career.
She loved
you
at your here, so she can have you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got you.
Exactly. But it is crazy. I've never been on a date in my life.
Wow.
Like, obviously,
So you never did the apps. That's right.
I never did the apps. I've never been on a date. Obviously, I dated. I had girlfriends. I got it in a little bit. But, like, I've never, like, as an adult, like, sat down with someone at fucking Nobu and been like, so what brings you to L.A.?
Oh, God.
Which doesn't seem like I'm missing a ton.
Here's a waste of money that's going to happen.
But at the same time, you're like, every once in a while, your penis is looking at you like, we left a lot of good years out there.
Yeah, left a lot of good men out there.
Love is more important.
You know what? Hey, aren't we all searching for love?
We are in a variety of different ways.
But dating's expensive, man. Like you said, you're sitting at Nobu with this person that you're like, out here, and you're like, I don't need to spend $200 to know that I'm a good time. Like, I'm gonna have a great time, and then I'm like, oh God, this is like.
It's a cool benefit of what I do, though, that it's not like, some guys, they get married and they're like, funk, you don't get to do anything.
No fun
anymore.
time, yeah.
And now it's like, A, we party together, but B, B, like I, do shows and I get to hang out with my comedian friends. And so like. I don't feel like I'm missing.
She sounds like a badass.
She's
amazing. Sounds like a keeper.
100%.
Sounds like a keeper.
She respects that I like to party, and by the way, will party just as hard as me.
Does she think you're funny?
Yeah,
she
does. Like as
she's
funny.
She's not like, oh God.
No, like funnier than anyone thinks I'm funny, but not like in a ridiculous way. Knows the version of me that is funny. So in the early years,
is she a good person to call you on? Like if you're like, she's like, that's not really working, or you do not interact that way?
No, she doesn't do it much because that would be crazy. But like she'll say things like, "Hey, you actually used to add this to that joke," and I'll go, "Fuck, I totally forgot about that." No, not tags. You used to tag it this way, and I'm like, "Oh, I forgot." Or like, "How come you gave up on that one?" I'm like, "Shit, I forgot about that joke. That was good." And when I was coming up, she was just like. She's like, it was funny because I knew you were hilarious, but it just took a long time for your ability on stage to showcase who you were. And so she was like, that's why the improvised stuff was always great because you had to be yourself in that moment. And then the writing and the material kind of like follows along. And
but you like that's the thing. It's not doing this like or what I making videos like I'm making videos all the time. But I also grew up on stage. When you don't have those reps. Like, you can't just manufacture that. You're not going to just go out your first time. Unless you're Dave Chappelle, I guess. He went out the first time and, like, crushed. But
a lot of that's lore.
And that's the other thing, too. That was, like, 40 years ago.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
Like,
he was in a park in Central Park.
He was like, I was in Washington, D.C. or something like that. And he
was in a park, I think. That's some crazy shit.
See, that's the thing. No one even knows, right? Like, we all have this mysterious thing. But I think that...
Dave is really good at speaking candidly about his own legend.
I mean, he can
do it though. He deserves it. I always say it's more like I think it's less like building a building and more like making a sculpture. Like a lot of it's within you, but you have to get good enough and normal and genuine enough to actually showcase who you are.
Well, figure out what your voice is.
Yeah.
And that's the same. And I had the same thing kind of with creating videos. Like I started out making video. Well, I was also like way too early for the Instagram game.
Yeah.
Like I was cooking already, and then I'm like, oh well, I want to catch up, and so I was trying to make these videos, and I'd be like, hey, today we're gonna make fucking. It was like,
Right.
Who cares?
But you
like,
have to make that to realize it doesn't work.
It's true though.
You really do.
It's true.
Some of my early videos suck ass.
I look back. Well, now you start like archiving shit like in the Instagram.
I actually need to go do one of those right now.
But yeah, I was like, you do the edit, but I was like, you don't realize like what your voice, and you're trying to play this role of like I don't know if you ever like, oh, this is what a comedian does, or this is what a cooking person on TV, because you've seen that, and then I was like, no, until I started actually being me, acting like a goofball, kind of taking the piss out of everyone, like me or whoever it was, like then the start, like it's like, oh, being authentic actually works. Like,
yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah, I loved you did the miso black cod video, and you're like, I hate this dish, and I was like, that's such a good hook, because then it's the most popular dish at Nobu, right?
100%. Well, and that was the first video I ever had that went viral, and I was like, oh.
You figure it out. You're like,
oh,
this is a topic that people know. There's a good hook. I'm kind of subverting it, and also it is feel good, because you're like, but goddamn it, I love it.
But the same way you sit down and I'm sure like obsess over jokes. I do that with hooks for what's the first 5 seconds? What's that hook gonna be? Whether it's something funny, whether it's something educational, like down to the word of like how I use it. I'm so intentional about it. I read actually a great book called Hook Point by this dude who's like this marketing genius, and I actually hired the company. I love them so much. I hired the company. But it wasn't like they're like, oh, use these hashtags and do this, post it this time. They're like, no, make better shit. Like learn how.
Any good social media guru should start with that. We can tell you this or that thing, but at the end of the day, quality is what matters. 100%. You're not going to build a sustained career off of the right hashtag and posting time.
No,
like
it's storytelling. It's like a setup for any joke.
There are a bunch of things that you can do to try and get someone to pay attention. Once you get them paying attention, it has to be good. It's crazy even with crowd work clips. It's like the crowd work clip, I'm not thinking about fucking anything. I'm in the moment. Right. I never know who's in the. It's just like boom, it's going. But then you edit it, and then you sit down to edit it, and you're like, ooh, is there anything in the first 3 seconds? Do I need to add a caption? Do I need to do this? And it's annoying.
Comedian eats shit.
Yeah, I'm watching that.
100%, dude.
100%.
I would
if
watch
it's
that.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the miso black cod that's a very famous dish, right?
Like the most.
What do you think is the most underrated dish
at Nobu?
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't know. I think that's a really good question. I probably made more of the artichoke salad.
Okay.
There's an artichoke.
Yeah, that doesn't pop off the menu at all.
Doesn't really. It's like a shaved baby artichoke salad with this truffle vinaigrette. And these like crispy onions on top, and it's one of the like sleeper hits. And once you've had it, people will come back for it. But I don't think it's something that
people
you wouldn't
order.
see it on the menu and be like, "Ooh, artichoke salad sounds great."
Yeah, I'm always interested in so you've worked at Michelin star restaurants, and obviously there's a lot going on behind the scenes. What is something that people the chefs spend more time doing in the background?
Crying.
It's just the meme of the Popeyes chick sitting on the stoop
crying.
Is it fun at all, or is it just because it's like you get into it because you love the art of creation of the food, but then you're just in a factory after that?
No, it's fun. That's the thing. And people always say like, "Oh, you're a chef. You're an artist. You
Yeah.
get to do it." And like, no, dude, I don't get to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Like both of my professions, like being a dancer and being a chef, it's like someone else is telling me what to do, and I have to do their vision and execute it at a high level. But yeah, it is fun.
People assume because it's what they do when they're like high and need a release.
Yeah,
that it is
so cool
for you. Yeah.
Like, no, I didn't get stoned and like whip up a struggle meal. Like,
yeah.
It's like this. No, but I think for me it was like finding the like perfection in that repetition, and like there was this camaraderie where everyone at my Jean Gorges wanted to be the best, right? So everyone's hyping everyone up too. We're always giving each other shit too. Like that was also like the healthy part of it.
It's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, and it also keeps you sane. But there wasn't I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm gonna fuck Joey over because I want a promotion, or I want to because when you're working in a group, you don't want if you're on hot apps and you're going down, like I'm gonna jump in there and save your ass because I know it's gonna eventually come around and I'm gonna get fucked later in the service. And if I fucked you earlier, it's just it doesn't make sense to do it.
Yeah.
So there is a very high level of camaraderie and team.
Yeah. So the concept of going
Just pull it
down.
out of your ass.
Yeah. I was like sitting on that, and then I was like, I'm gonna be looking at this later, and everyone's gonna be like, "What fucking dildo is that guy sitting on?"
Joey's so zesty.
Yeah. Like, tell me about cooking. Yeah. So you're a dancer and you're a chef.
Got a new butt plug in today.
Zesty is amazing, dude.
It's a funny word.
It is really good. Going down. Speaking of being zesty, going down is a fascinating concept to me. But the way you said it, so like if you're on a station and people, you said hot apps, people order a bunch of one thing, you can just
hot
start
apps is always like that's the busiest station because think about it, if you see a menu, right?
Yeah.
People are always going to order a starter.
Yeah.
But like they may not order, they're either going to go fish or meat, which splits that 50-50. But like garde-manger, which is salads and starters, garde-manger and hot apps always going to get crushed because people are ordering multiples of those. Oh, yeah. Or if it's the tasting menu, they're on you're going to get one of those with your tasting menu. So they always go down.
The juxtaposition of people at the table going like, should we be fun tonight?
Yeah.
Let's be fun. Let's get a bunch of, we don't need them.
Let's get some apps.
But let's get a bunch of apps. And some dude in the back just going, fuck me in the ass. No!
Just some stuff we can pick over.
You're not being fun. We don't have to finish it. Let's be bad.
It's pretty true though. It's not a lie. But I was the poissonnier, so I was the fish cook. So.
Do you think there's any like politics that go into getting a Michelin star, or do you feel like it's generally pretty much based on quality? And do you think it's overrated? Because as an outsider, you see like that's the if you're trying to impress your girl's parents and we're gonna bring them to a Michelin star restaurant. That's like the thing that everyone uses.
Yeah, I think that it's moderately rated. I think there probably is a lot of politics that goes into it. But you have to be good, and you have to be good at a very high level. Like when I left Jean Gorges, they actually lost a star. Not because I left, but they lost a star.
They lost LeAnn Rimes' ex. This place is fucking done.
That was the star.
I was the star. And they lost it.
No, but I feel like that's the hard thing about getting those stars, and I think that's why it means so much way more in Europe. I feel like in Europe they carry. I mean, guys have killed themselves over losing stars.
Jesus.
Or actually, there was a chef who killed himself because he heard that his restaurant was about to lose a star. They ended up not losing the star. He dies. It's tragic. So, like, Europe is very...
I'm literally thinking about, like, the tire man during this whole thing. Like, this French chef is killing himself, and the Michelin...
That's how it started.
They did it just to be a fun... Yeah.
Yeah, well, they did it to sell tires because they knew if they told people to go off in this far-flung place and drive there, they were going to use more tires, in theory.
It's kind of a beautiful analogy as to how life works. Like, you never really know what you're starting, but once you start something, if it takes on a life of its own, go with it.
But no, look, I still think everyone still wants stars. If I work in a restaurant, if I worked with a restaurant, of course I want to get a star. Yeah. Because the amount of business that it helps you increase is exponential. Yeah. People will go, even if it's, I shouldn't say there's not great restaurants that have stars. Every restaurant that has a star is probably pretty damn good, but the more stars you have, the more business you're most likely to get. And
now would you, at this point, You've worked in these restaurants. Would you want to open up a restaurant, or you want to focus on the social media angle? I know you've written cookbooks.
It's funny. I just got pulled back into the restaurant world.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm helping. There's a restaurant. If you ever go to the restaurant, if you're ever in New York, go to a restaurant called Marea.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
No.
So it's like they actually had 2 stars at one time. Super, super beautiful coastal Italian. And my friend, who is the executive chef there, was my first, but this is the crazy thing about not like burning bridges. He hired me out of culinary school at Nobu because he was running Nobu at the time. He brought me on. So we're going to open Marea in Beverly Hills. Shout out.
Oh, nice. I love that.
Plug for Marea. But it's going to be amazing because it's going to be like a very New York experience in LA.
Are you going to be cooking?
I'm not going to be cooking. I'm on the operations side. It's a young man's game, dude. I'm not.
It seems like it. Yeah, you don't need to be in there.
It's just not what drives me. I actually like working with people, leading teams, setting the standards and all of that. Yeah. Going for Michelin star.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, killing myself when we don't get them. Fuck it.
Who knows? Cut to 6 months later.
Yeah. It's like, shit. I'm like, hey, that helped. The podcast went viral late. Man, that one really hit late. What's going on?
Black.
I got to text Dean. Oh, fuck.
Just goes green.
So you've written cookbooks.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this as a guy who, what do you think is the right balance between storytelling and recipe? because every time I try to fucking Google
Oh,
a goddamn
dude,
recipe and I'm
no.
cooking, and some bitch is like, my auntie first showed me a salad bowl.
Nobody
and like,
cares, Jessica.
Yeah.
Nobody fucking
Yeah,
cares.
dude.
Yeah, just give. Dude,
Get
that's
to
what.
it.
Now, what's not you? If now there's jump to the recipe. There's that button.
That's smart.
Jump to the
That's
recipe
smart.
because
I think people have a desire to weave story with food, though.
here's the thing: if you are some mommy blogger from the Midwest, I don't give a shit. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's just like,
No offense,
especially.
Jessica.
Sorry, Jessica.
Yeah.
But it's all these like.
You dumb fucking
It's
bitch.
like all these white girls in the
Yeah.
in the Midwest
Yeah.
be like, this is an exotic dish,
Yeah.
and it has some. And you're like,
Yeah.
shut up! You've never been out of Omaha.
I was gonna say it's about the
Like,
one time their grandma saw an episode about Grease on the Food Network.
And so if it's someone who legitimately has experienced these cultures, so like a Bourdain, right? I'll read anything that he writes.
Right.
Or if you have a history, Andrew Zimmern.
I think
you know,
it's
the
just a
guy-
mix. Like it's if you're Googling recipe and you're using SEO to get your recipe out there, show the goddamn recipe because you're looking for something basic.
Right.
But if you are a storyteller, if you
Sure.
are Bourdain,
But everyone thinks they're a storyteller. But I think it probably
both of
helps.
us probably think that.
That's true. I'm a shit talker. I don't know if I'm a storyteller.
That's fair. Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm a shit talker. And like for me, like I will write longer things. Like I have, places I'll put, but if it's like just the recipe. Like I'm not gonna sit here and go into some exposition in my Instagram.
You do actually a really good job of putting the whole fucking recipe like
try,
like
yeah.
a long like I'm
Some
like,
of
did you
them are
type
too
that on
long.
a computer?
Yeah,
Like the
some are too-
recipe
like,
is in there.
Drag
yeah.
and drop, baby.
Yeah, we talked about. Okay, so this is what I want to come back to, the celebrity chef thing.
Okay.
What pisses you off about that? Because what's funny about you is you're almost both things separately.
It's celebrity or chef.
Well, there's
I
like
don't-
celebrity chef who's like, I mean, it's kind of what Bourdain was, but it's what he was trying to like bitch
He's
about
he
more
was like,
so.
Yeah, sure.
You're like
was
a
like a
celebrity
rock
and
star.
chef, but they're like largely separate. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Your celebrity was different from becoming a chef.
Yeah, what I was known for before was
Correct.
not tied into that.
Exactly. So
I think-
that's a different thing.
I think I don't know that Bourdain would ever have. Well, he would have hated the moniker celebrity chef. I think he was like more of like a rock star. Like I just
He
kind of
was,
did whatever
yeah.
he wanted. Marco Pierre White was like the OG. Do you know who that guy is?
No.
So he was the youngest to ever win 3 stars in his mid-20s or something like that. He was a British chef.
Uh-huh.
He's a fucking rock star.
Yeah.
You should look him up. He was such a badass. He was like, fuck Michelin, take the stars back. He was the first person who
That's
gave
fucking rock stars.
and you can't do
You
it.
can't give-
You
it's not
can't
a-
really
it's
do
not a
it.
thing.
It's not a thing.
Like he
They're like,
mailed them
"No,
back
you
to
still
the tire store.
to the tire store. Exactly. No, and
Take
so
these back.
he was like, I don't care about your rating, which I love that. There's some merit to that.
That's
and like,
so sick. I don't have that bone in my body.
No.
I would be I'd have
I'm
a
like,
room in my
you'd have
house
3 stars
that
tattooed.
I would have made the stars myself and hung them up.
tattoo.
Come, yeah. It's the 3-star, baby. They take one away. Guess I got to kill
Yeah.
myself, but so did Bourdain. But look,
man.
what do you? I mean, yeah, fuck it, let's do it.
Let's. You're like,
Yeah.
fuck it, we can edit it out. No.
Nah, I mean, I'm not going to. I mean, it seems to me that he fell for a really sort of demonic gal who kind of brought him through it, but he was also weak enough to not realize what was important in his life.
Have a kid, man.
You have a kid.
That's the hardest thing.
That's
for
the thing.
me.
It's if he didn't, I think people would probably be like, nah.
I've been through some wicked breakups.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been that. And look. I'm not saying I'm not better than anyone else, but like it's sad because especially being a father,
Yeah.
I can't imagine one day of me, like my son, not having me in his life. Because my dad was an alcoholic. My dad was, he wasn't a bad guy. He was just like could never get his shit together.
Yeah.
And for me too, now having a son, like I always thought I wanted a daughter. I was like, oh, I want a daughter. I'm gonna like have this be such a cool thing. And I think probably subconsciously, I'm like having a son probably freaked me out.
Right.
And I have, when I finally knew that I was having a boy, I was like, holy shit! It's like my chance to kind of redo my childhood. And so now my son, like I'm not there to be his best friend. I'm not there to be, to give him everything he wants, but he knows no matter what. I'll be like, hey Bubs, what's my job? He's like, keep me safe. And I'm like, it's the fucking cutest thing ever.
That's beautiful.
And he knows no matter what, like he can depend on me. And that was something that I didn't have with my own father. And I didn't look to him to be my hero, and I don't think my son needs to like look at me and think I'm the greatest thing in the world. But he needs to know that like he's safe with me, and he always trusts me. Even like when he does these little lies, like he'll lie to me, and that's like a part of
course,
part of growing
did.
up.
Yeah.
And I'll tell him, and I'll catch him in these stupid lies, and I'm like, dude, I don't ever want you to feel like you have to lie to me. Like I want you to be able to tell me, no matter how big or small it is, because I know. Fast forward when he's 16. And like we were 16-year-old boys doing real dumb shit that we weren't
insane
in like
stuff that I still
dude.
regret that I feel bad about.
In dangerous situations where like someone was way too fucked up, or someone should have gone to the hospital, or something like whatever. We know, like I'm about to go to jail, something like that. Like that's the time when I want him to be like, Dad, come get me, and I'll be like, no problem. Like that's the kind of dad that I want to be.
That's beautiful, and I think I don't know if it takes someone who has had as many crazy experiences as you have, where you're like, hey man, you got a problem. I've probably had.
I've made all the mistakes. That's what I always tell everybody.
But it's hard to think that a kid ever actually will do it. Because my parents said the same thing. They would be like, never ever, if you're intoxicated, never ever drive, whatever. And look, I'm not fucking saying it's a good idea, but was I 16 being like, I shouldn't have done that. I'm just going to get home and thank God Daddy's got that hand-eye. But that's not the point. That's not the point at all. Get that pirate eye. You just keep it between just the field goals, bro. But no, it's horrible. And I'm the same way. Like I whenever I have a kid, like it'll be the same thing. It'll be like, you wake me up, I don't care what fucking time, I'm not going to scream at you. I just want to get you home safe. But it's hopefully he remembers the one thing
hopefully
that you've told him.
They call that, they punch that number.
Also, Uber exists now, which is way.
Well, now our kids aren't probably
even
going to drive. Like
that's so much
nuts.
better. That's so much better.
So much better. Yeah, there were some shaky calls definitely.
Yeah, and all bad, and no one should ever do that. No. But now that you've had this experience with your son, it colors the perspective of what Bourdain did, which I think the reason that so many people, I guess I'm only talking for myself, but I think a lot of people still think about him is just like, it sucks that he would do that no matter what, but especially because we all looked up to him. We all were like, this guy has perspective that I don't have. This guy has coolness that I don't have. This guy has seen things that I don't have. He's more eloquent.
He'd be the last person that I would think would do it, because he's been so close to death's door. He was a drug addict. He has been through ups and downs through his personal life, career, professionally, and he's got a kid. You're like, okay, he's like got the jiu-jitsu thing. He's got, he's like dialing it in towards the, like he finally was like getting it all sorted. And I'm like, fuck, man. Like when I heard that, it was one of the hardest things for someone I never knew.
Dude, cried.
I was like, man.
Yeah.
Like, it was such
I wonder though if obviously he had those demons and you like get it together, but then, on the back end of your life, whatever you had together sometimes slips back towards what it was.
Man, but my demons are like not that dark.
I didn't hit the number.
5, 6. God, I missed that pirouette.
Yeah.
Oh God. That's how the show's gonna start.
Yeah. That's the clip. No context.
What? Comments are gonna be real spicy.
Oh God. Yeah. No. It's just depressing. I mean, he lived the life that everyone wished they had.
For the end, yeah.
But you're also, someone who's been that cool. I don't know if he's looking at it going, this isn't gonna get. It was starting to get weird when he started letting that woman like direct some of his shows, and all of a sudden, Asia Argento.
That's why I know her name.
She went ahead and started the Me Too movement, and then got eaten by it, which was because she did something to a young boy. I think,
irony's a bitch.
Yeah. So and so is she. I don't know her, but she killed my hero. No, it's what.
You're not wrong.
What do you think about so there's him, and then he kind of set up. I feel like he did put the wheels in motion on the Guy Fieri hate train.
Oh, dude. Here's the thing. I honestly think, I think it's about Guy Fieri. I think that's the way.
I forgot that you had a weekend in Florence.
What was his name? No, I think that guy gets a lot of undue hate. Mm-hmm. And look, do I want to cook his food do I want to eat at his restaurants?
No.
Probably not. Do I want to have a beer with him? Probably. He kind of seems like fucking awesome.
Yeah.
He's like the people's guy.
Yeah.
I think Bourdain was like, as much as he was like the rock star outlaw guy, he was more of like
He was French cuisine.
Yeah.
He was
a writer.
Yeah.
It was very like, very much more esoteric. Guy's like he's a guy of the people. Like he's like
diners, drive-ins, and dives. Yeah, like
he looks like a '90s like Smash Mouth or whatever. Like kind of like.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think they did stuff together. I don't remember. I think that they actually. Yeah, he just looks like a guy who would just like blow up a toilet and then be like, "You're not gonna want to go in there for a little bit." You know?
one of those
shit pumping.
But dude, that guy is laughing all the way to the
bank.
Fucking bank.
And now I think people are back. Like now people. Because it was like everyone hated him, but then everyone who's in the public eye that long goes through, ebbs and flows, and now he kind of is like in nostalgia range where everyone's like, fuck yeah, people dress up as him for Halloween and like not in a mean way.
Not in, like,
everyone's just like
way.
Flavortown.
Yeah, no, I mean like, look, people know him that well. It's like Taylor Swift though too. Like you may not like Taylor Swift, but like
Guy Fieri, the Taylor Swift of food. You heard it from Dean.
No, but like also he's on Food Network. He's the only person. It's like he and Bobby Flay. I'm not bitter.
Is that what you want to be on the network?
Dude, I wanted to be on Food Network.
Yeah, you did.
So bad.
Yeah.
Fuck Food Network.
Why did they? Yeah, you heard it here. Fuck Food Network.
Honestly, and I'll probably catch shit for that. I don't care. They're not going to hire me anyway.
No one's going to see this.
No, but honestly, I think also because of my past, have thought like, oh, he's already been out there. He's already been seen. That was like feedback years ago when pitched stuff to them. And it was always like, oh, well, he's already been out there. Dude, I've never had a show. I've never had a show on your network. I've never even been on your network. But now I feel like the old guard and the traditional things, it's like comedy too. Like you're not waiting for these gatekeepers to tell you, oh, it's your time. Oh, Joey, it's your time to do comedy. You're like, no, I can like go play all these shows, grab these clips, put them online, develop an audience, and like that's what I did. So I was like,
they trust me. They don't even talk to me, and it doesn't fucking matter. Like, but it's also weird that concept of he's already been out there, so we couldn't give him a show. It's just there's this.
But yet they recycle all of.
Because they all feel like they need to add their perspective on something that is kind of a crapshoot. Like obviously the algorithm, some shit goes viral, some doesn't, or whatever. TV is almost the same way. They didn't know what a fucking hit was going to be, but then to justify their own jobs, they have to be like, no, we know this is the taste, this is the flavor, he's in, he's out, and it's like none of it's really real. If you made a show that was good, it wouldn't have mattered.
None of it's real. Also, who's watching it? Like, who's watching any of those shows? Unless someone has it like in the background. And
dude, because we were doing this today, I had like 20 minutes left on my flight, and I went on Southwest. I was like, I wonder if there's any like food shows. Have you seen Selena and Chef?
Yes, I have.
Bro, what? It's just Selena Gomez cooking with like a famous chef.
That's
the show.
That's the show.
It's a cooking show, and it's just
her being
like a relatable ditz.
But that's on Netflix, right?
I think it's on HBO, which is even crazier because like HBO is like, to me that's like.
But also she's married or dating Benny Blanco, who's not a chef, but
now he's like food
taking
guy.
over the food. I'm
because
also
he does that like ASMR like meat patty slap something. Yeah.
I have a love-hate. I mean, like, look, everyone's gonna find their own way, and like, he's one of the most amazing Like, he's produced some massive hits. But stay in your fucking lane.
Wait, both of them. Why are both of them doing food?
I'm like, God damn
you make noise.
I need to be better. No.
I go back and forth on this because it's easy to like. Look, I think there's value in shitting on things because like I was watching it and I was like, this is fucking dumb. I see who it's for because it's for someone who's like, I can't cook, but I like Selena because she's like, what? I'm supposed to put the peppers in?
Right.
You know?
So ironic. Wow.
It's like she's relatable because she's fucking up cooking and pretending to be dumber than she is, but she's aspirational because she's doing it in Malibu and everyone assumes they're going to live there eventually.
Yeah, I'm exactly as dumb as I am all the time. I don't need to pretend. No, I'm kidding.
But at the same time, when I see something like that can be successful, or let's say a comedian is way more successful than me and I don't think they're as good as me, for some people they get like bitter hella quick, and to me I'm just like, no, that just means I have to work on the packaging a little bit, because if you've done the thing that's harder already, which is to get good at the skill.
You're talking about Matt Rife
then
right
you
there?
just No, I'm not, but I could hit the gym a little bit, dude. I don't know.
You're talking about the jaw.
I do. I am actually working. I'm going to get a fucking lacrosse ball and chew on it. I heard he's a great guy. I'm on the show with him tonight. All right. Haven't met him yet. Nothing bad to say. I don't hate him as much as other people, but like the point is, Yeah, if someone is more popular with less skill, then that means there's a lane for you that you just have to figure out. Because if you have the skill, it's your job to figure out how to package it and like get it out there and keep trying things. And you never know what's gonna happen. I mean, when did you start doing?
Here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Taylor Swift is not the best singer, and I used to get mad because
that's enough. Get off.
And I'm gonna stick up for my ex-wife here because
let's go. Now here's the clip. Just go ahead.
No, because LeAnn had one of the greatest voices ever in this world, and so much more talent than Taylor. But Taylor came in at this perfect time where like pop and country was kind of like when LeAnn went pop, it was like this big backlash and everyone was pissed off. Even though she had all of this talent, she was still a young girl. She was only in her early 20s when when we were together. And Taylor came in at the right time and kind of usurped her whole career, but she was so smart because she found her audience. And like she had this audience of young girls, and it started out and you see the evolution of her career, and she's now like crushing it. She's not the most talented dancer, she's not the most talented singer. She was just smart at like figuring out, she's a fantastic writer, also surrounded herself with incredible writers, and like figured out, like you said, what is that lane, stay in that lane, and like now she's the biggest star in the world.
And she knows how to control a narrative.
And
so whenever all this stuff went down with Scooter,
have you seen the documentary?
No, I haven't, but I've heard like people talking about it, and it's like, oh, that's not how I thought it went at
like
all.
the
And I'm
two sides
like, I had
thing?
only heard Taylor's version.
Yeah.
Which is funny. That's what she named the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I actually heard was the biggest downfall to LeAnn's career was when she broke up with you.
Somebody else's
That'll ruin your voice. I was just going to say it was a quote by you.
It was, I remember that
quote by
That's
you.
been
You were
thrown-
like, the main thing is she just fucked up her whole career because we were a good team and she's a dumb bitch.
I was kind of
You didn't add the last part.
I didn't add the last part.
No.
No, I was probably being a little bit of a bitter.
It was the perfect level of like, I can tell exactly how mad he is, but that was pretty well done. Yeah.
Look, it's been so long that I don't. Look, she's still with the guy too. So like,
yeah.
you know what?
So it is what it is.
It is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
I want her to be happy, but
And it's way
but
too.
the
How
last
old were
hit
you
she-
when you got
the
married?
last hit she did have was with me.
I mean,
A
it's
song
just,
that we
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there.
Song we wrote. But,
I am on the credits, so we'll throw that out there. So you've written songs, danced, chef.
I can't keep a job. That's
No.
a problem. I can't.
Especially a husband.
Like,
Folks,
yes. Damn it. I'm really good at getting married.
yeah. Hey, that's a skill, dude.
I'm fantastic at getting married and
Tom Brady
engaged.
levels of winning rings. Yeah.
Dude.
And then, but he can't keep a wife either.
Well,
Maybe it's the lady's fault.
He's got way more money than I have.
That is true, but he has no Michelin stars.
Dude, would you have done that roast if you were him?
I actually helped write for it, believe it or not. But I was the whole time that
Nikki Glaser crushed, by the way.
She did crush.
Crushed it.
The whole time that because I knew about it obviously before it came out, and the whole time we're writing jokes, I was just like, is this even gonna hit? Is this thing gonna be like? I was just like, it just seems weird. Like it's like all these athletes, and then like I don't know why Tom would do it. Our whole thing was why would Tom do this?
Why
We
would you
never
do it?
really knew.
Yeah.
But then it became a huge cultural moment, and I was so wrong. I mean, it was more entertaining than I didn't know all that was going to go into it. I was working on a very specific thing, and then when I saw the whole thing, I was like, "Damn, this is actually a thing." But I think one of the reasons it hit is sports fans, Tom Brady, all
Sure.
that, the moment that he's in, being recently divorced, but also I think it felt like a moment where everyone was like, "Oh, comedy can be fucked up again," and I feel like that
Thank
went
God.
away for a while,
Dude.
and now it's back.
It's like the last refuge for like free speech, honestly, because you can say fucked up stuff now.
Yeah.
You can say people are finally like, and I think that's happened in the last couple of years, that finally people are starting to like loosen up. But there's been those people who like have always done it, like the Jeselniks and the people like that.
There's such a level with it where like I think that it. Like, I do believe in fuck around, find out. Like, I think people should be able to say fucked up shit, and the level of fear that surrounded it that they wouldn't let people do it, or you could lose disproportionate things for saying fucked up stuff is annoying. But I also do believe that, like, there's almost like equal backlash now. If you say something that's like fucked up, then people get mad at you, and it's like, hey, you pissed them off. That's fine, but then people get mad at them for being pissed off, and now I think the person who said it can just fade into the fucking background.
Yeah, like Homer Simpson.
But Jeselnik always got away with it because genuinely he is more skilled at it than other people.
He's a master.
And the structure of the horrible shit he's saying is so good, and it's so kind of
absurd. And even
absurd.
when you know it's coming,
yeah,
you're like, I know it, and then it'll go another, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, like it's a lot for me. Like I rarely watch a whole special because I'm like, oh, I get it, the jokes are good, but I need a shower.
It's true. You're
But
like, how many kids are you gonna kill in this joke?
Yeah,
you're like,
but he never got in trouble for it because I think people can tell he's kidding, but also like there's legitimate master to it, whereas like some people will just
popping off of the mouth saying something stupid,
which is more what I do, but but
like,
that's fine.
You mean my career?
Yeah. But that's fine, and
Two
now
shows
it's okay
tonight.
again. Yeah, San Diego this weekend. Oh man, this has been very fun. Thank you for doing this. I know you got it. Are you doing a meeting for this restaurant here soon?
I'm doing a meeting for the restaurant.
Nice.
Getting it going. Come to Maria, Beverly Hills. Let's go.
Maria, Beverly Hills. Is there anything else that you want to plug?
No, nothing to plug. Just my Instagram at Dean Sheremet.
Watch it. It's great, dude. You have awesome stuff. Actually, one last question. When did you discover the cuisine times fast food angle? Because it's really fun.
Thanks, dude. It's one of those things that I was working with this company, and it's called the genre matchup. And I was like, what two things can I find that don't seem like they'd go together? And then, like you said, fuck around and find out.
It's interesting. Like when you pull it, I'm like, how is he gonna do this? And then it always looks dank.
No,
that's
thanks,
like
man.
what,
I appreciate that. And I do pull them randomly, like, because I'll pull.
That was my other question.
Yeah, I'll pull a bunch.
Yeah.
I'll set up the camera and I'll pull a bunch of them and get honest, because I want to get honest reactions.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, can I actually make something? Is it going to be a funny or is it going to be interesting to watch? And some of them do better than others, but it's fun. Because you're bored. Like,
what are your thoughts on fast food as a cuisine guy?
I love fast food.
It's fire, dude.
Dude, I'm not gonna just because I'm from Detroit, dude. I'm like,
right.
Go out and crush fast food.
Like, I actually have a theory.
What's your fast food? What's your go-to?
I have a theory that McDonald's is the greatest restaurant of all time.
Wow.
Okay.
Based on
now, here's the thing. It's not going to get a Michelin star, but based on consistency, quality, and the amount of people that it has delivered a delicious meal to, and perhaps cancer, but that comes later. I think it might have delivered the most happiness.
But that's the thing. I think that people also say, like, people ask me all the time, what's the greatest restaurant? And like I would say Hillstone, which seems random. Do you ever been to Hillstone?
No.
So like Hillstone they're in New York. They're all, there's like a Banderas. You've probably been to Banderas, or like down in San Diego. Anyways, they're like this whole restaurant group. But it's about the consistency. Every time I go there, I get a great meal. Every time I go there, they're like, the service is fantastic. Like, those are the meals. Like, I've been to Michelin star fancy meals, but you're going to eat there once.
Yeah.
McDonald's, like you said.
Yeah.
Every time you
Slaps.
go, if it's good, it's good.
Now that it's on Uber Eats and I can dial that up at 2 a.m.
How much do you pay
I
for
don't
that?
go. It's worth it.
It's insane.
Because A, I'm not driving drunk, and B, I'm not eating McDonald's sober. I'm not a fucking lunatic, dude. I eat it drunk like a fucking American.
It's cheaper than a DUI.
Yeah, dude. 100%.
Dude, but In-N-Out is the only burger that actually, it comes to you the way that it looks in the picture.
Yeah.
Like, you get McDonald's is like, it's like this, or like shitty.
I do think food and comedy are kind of similar. People are always like, who's your favorite comedian? Who's the best comedian? And it's like, that to me, it doesn't exist. And once people start like obsessing over, I am the number one, it's like, you're not going to be. It's joke to joke. It's special to special.
For sure.
For restaurants, it's dish to dish. And there's a lot of really good ones out there. And the ones that I'll keep coming back to are the ones that every time I'm like, fuck, that was good.
But it's like what you're in the mood for, too. Sometimes
Also
you're like,
that.
oh, I want to watch Bill Burr. Like, oh, sometimes I want to watch, whatever. Like, you pick your poison for the mood that you're in. You're like you said, you're not going to just be happy and like flip on Justin and
and you're like,
and watch
that's good. Yeah. I was between Friends and Jeselnik tonight.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dean.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
This was great, man. That was super fun. Okay, thank you very much to Dean. That is our show. I plugged it on the show, but come on out and see me live. JoeyAvery.com/live. We got San Diego coming up this weekend. We have a ton more coming down the pipe, so please check out some shows. Tell your friends about it. We need to start selling some goddamn tickets, baby. But the shows have been so much fun. Thanks to everyone who has come out. And that'll do it. We'll see you next week. This has been The Joey Show.
Thank God I have a podcast.